Welcome back to my channel. My name is Scott McKenzie, and I am going to be covering the 6 critical elements that you must know and be aware of in order to start up your own home care business. So today I'm going to be diving in on some key lessons, and I'll be sharing my screen. And if you don't know me yet, my name is Scott McKenzie, and I am the founder of Golden Age Companions. We are a non-medical home care agency based here in Irvine, California. We've been in business for over 10 years and have done over $8 million of revenue since we started. I came from a background of actually working at Starbucks from age 16 to 21. I started this business, Golden Age Companions, when I was 21 years old. And I like to share that because if I can start from, a home care business working out of Starbucks, I want to share that inspiration that anybody can do it if you're looking at getting in this business. And I have also a coaching program called Home Care Agency Blueprint, and that's something that I have created in a way that you can start your own home care business. And it's an entire program to launch your own home care agency, and it is not a franchise. So that is something I'm super excited about, and yeah, I'm gonna jump in here. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to be jumping into the 6 critical elements to know about prior to starting your own home care agency. So here they are. The first thing that I'd like to mention in this business, when you're running a home care agency, I like to really simplify it. So, or even like if you're considering getting in this business, essentially it's a service-based business model. And the way I like to always simplify this, and this comes down to the core of the culture of Golden Age Companions, is essentially you're looking at, as the owner and operator of a home care business, you've got to have a way to get clients, right? Whether that's people with disabilities, seniors, people that need the home care, and then a way to source the caregivers. And then you're matching those 2 components. So essentially a client that needs care, you're matching a caregiver that can work with that client. And then the best way you manage that entire process of sourcing the caregiver, placing them with the family, and then monitoring that process and making sure that all the HR is up to speed, and just that whole entire process of scheduling the caregivers and making sure they're showing up and whatnot. The best you do that, the most successful you will be in this type of business. So I like to just kind of like break it down in simple terms. I know that there's going to be quite a bunch of information that I'm going to be going through today, and I just want to kind of like preempt it with that. So the first thing is, of course, marketing, right? You've got to have good marketing. So there's online marketing, there's offline marketing. I like to say online marketing is essentially your website, Google My Business, Facebook, all the social media. That is your directory listings. So like with care.com, agingcare.com, there's all kinds of directory listings that you can basically be a part of, so people know about you and they could find you. And then you have your offline marketing. So the offline marketing is essentially, the relationships that you build out in the community. So these are relationships that you have with social workers at, skilled nursing facilities. We call them SNFs, assisted living facilities. It could even be just churches. I mean, there's so many different. And actually, in my home care agency Blueprint program, we have an entire list, and we train on where to go and what to say and how to find out, exactly how to really build those relationships without wasting a ton of time or money, because you can spend a lot of money just driving around and meeting with people, taking people to lunch, and there's a certain way of really being most optimal building those relationships. So that's what I like to say on the offline and online. You've got to have good marketing. So In my program, we do talk about, we train, we have a full, actually partnership with a year mastermind on literally just marketing. And that's something that comes included with my program. So, you know how to do that. So there's actually, this is kind of like a sneak peek in our course. You can see here, the actual course looks a little bit different. This is more of a template in here. And this is kind of how it's laid out. But these are, we give step-by-steps on, how to identify healthcare professionals, make sure that you research and understand what their needs are. It's really important to know who you're speaking to when going into these facilities. For example, when building up these relationships, you want to identify what pressures they're under, because that's it. As if you can be that agent to go in there, I like to kind of call it like a change agent, like basically being that person to go in there and relieve who this is. So say it's a social worker that's super stressed out, they don't know who to refer to, or they know they have people that they have patients, right, that need home care, but they just don't want to deal with it. And if you can somehow solve that problem for them and say, look, we can take that off your hands, we'll make sure that we take really good care of the client when they get discharged, and you're following up. And there's just, of course, there's a whole process on it. Attending networking events, that's kind of like a given. Even becoming part of your local chamber of commerce is really great. This comes from experience. I would definitely attend the events, but I would not, I would really highly consider, especially if you're starting out, to not be signing up for all the packages, because a lot of these chambers, they want you to sign up for all these advertisements and things. And there was a year when I was first starting, I spent over almost $5,000 and we didn't get anybody referred to us. And I realized you got to kind of like hit the ground running and be out there and be meeting people. So like educational presentations, workshops, that's really great. Hosting some type of, say at your local hospital, or if you are an RN or you already work in the healthcare field, this is going to be even easier for you because you already have contacts. So doing like a workshop on something, right? Like, dementia, or, caregiver training, and that could be even caregiver training for the family members. Then, of course, like providing materials, that's a given. You want to have all that brochure and branding. My home care agency blueprint program, we have a team that develops your branding for you. And then it's asking for the referrals, getting testimonials. People are really happy with your service, expressing, gratitude, following up, making sure the families are happy, making sure the social workers are happy. So that's the marketing. That's like the gist of it. Now, hiring caregivers, this is, of course, super important. The caregivers are the staple in your business. So, without your caregivers, you don't have a business in home care realm. So you really want to focus on hiring quality caregivers and spending time with them. I cover a ton of information. I want to say there's at least 20 different modules in our program that we go over on how to hire caregivers. And my team, with our coaching program, we actually help you. We can even get live on a call and we can help you interview caregivers when you're just starting out, because we want you to be successful. So hiring the caregivers, that's something that, of course, you want to follow all your local laws, the background checks, making sure that they have all the information in regards to, you are collecting every information that you need on them, but then interviewing them properly to where essentially what it starts out with is sourcing the caregivers. So you have hiring platforms. The platform that we use is Hireology, and we've used ZipRecruiter. They're, in my opinion, a little pricey for what you get. Hireology is around like $300 a month. And yeah, so essentially hiring quality caregivers, it all starts with like, the job descriptions and what you're looking to source for, and pre-vetting the caregivers ahead of time. I would say, coming from experience, that's one of the most important things to do. Is even if essentially you don't have that case for that new client quite yet, say you're just starting out, interview caregivers, get some practice, get to know some caregivers, because when you do get that new client, you're going to be able to have a caregiver ready. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword though too, because say you interview 5 caregivers and then you don't get a client for, or one that fits that caregiver's, you know, availability and stuff for say a few months, they may not be available. So there's just a lot of intricate things with home care on hiring and recruiting. But it's, to be most successful with it, it's really just constantly talking to caregivers, checking in with them, and then you know who is available when you do have that case. And you know, there's nothing said against, like, you could talk to caregivers. You don't have to onboard every single person as this employee when it comes up front. You could just be speaking to the caregivers, and then when you have a case for them, then you bring them on as an employee before you get them on payroll and all that stuff. So you know, some people think like I literally have to like bring on a caregiver, and by the way, I'll do a entire video on this, but so stay tuned to my channel. I'll if you subscribe below, and if you like this video so far, please hit the like button down below and subscribe. I'd appreciate that. And so, but yeah, as far as recruiting the caregivers, it is just like super important on having quality caregivers. And that's the thing, is you can be talking to multiple caregivers and you know, just checking and getting their personality traits and stuff ahead of time, and then only until you are ready to place them with the client and have them on payroll, then you could fully onboard them. So it's kind of like a two-step HR platform. The most important thing to consider is a platform that fits your business. So there's different types of platforms. You can you know, I know there's one called Bambi. That one is actually pretty cool for HR. So this is pretty neat. Bambi is one of those like newer HR companies that they're much more reasonable in pricing, and they can help you with making sure all this stuff is automated on hiring and recruiting and protecting your home care agency. And then in regards to ADP, they have more of like a full-fledged system. The nice thing with ADP is the payroll inside of ADP also integrates inside of WellSky, which is the CRM. I'll talk about that in just a minute, the scheduling software that we use. So our scheduling software integrates inside, and you can then export all the payroll in WellSky that calculates all that payroll, and then that gets moved over to ADP automatically, so there's not like double entry. HR, I mean, I think that's pretty much a given, having a good HR platform. The CRM, that's just essentially WellSky. There's some other CRMs out there. This is a scheduling software, so this is where the caregivers are scheduled. This is where they go in. When you onboard a new client, you build out the care plan in the software, and there's a handful of them, but yeah, essentially build out the care plan. When you hire the caregiver, they get input in there, and then they are scheduled inside of that software, and then that's kind of like your core bread and butter as far as like your main system that you're using to run your business. And then everything is calculated. For example, inside of WellSky, your invoices are calculated and your payroll's calculated, so everything is essentially inside of there. And then it's just having the invoices go to a payment processor, and then your payroll goes to whatever payroll processor you have. And then financial management, record keeping, that's like the same thing when it comes to managing. Inside of WellSky, you have, for example, your invoices, and then there's an accounts receivable in there. So when invoices get paid, and all that can get exported to QuickBooks, so you can use QuickBooks for that. And then obviously it's good to have a very good bookkeeper to keep track of all of your other expenses as well. for quality assurance and compliance, that is basically making sure that your caregivers, so as you start getting 5, 10, 15, 20 clients, making sure that you're monitoring the caregivers and the clients are having quality care, and that you're out doing spot checks, showing up at the house to make sure that the caregivers doing what they need to be doing. And if there's any questions or concerns, it's really important to what you don't want to do is just place the caregiver with the family and then like once it's set up just kind of like forget about it or something. I mean, I feel like there's some agencies that do that, but you really want to monitor. It's an ongoing process to monitor and make sure that there's quality there and that the caregiver is happy, and of course the client's happy as well. Yeah, and then the very last thing, I have a bonus here at the end of the video. This is a agency checklist. So this is just a home care agency startup checklist that we created. So there's a link in the description below. You can download this. So it's an overview. It's just kind of something to get you started. Essentially my program, Home Care Agency Blueprint, you can book a call with me direct. My Calendly link that comes to me, so you will get to talk to me directly, and I can talk to you about our program and what that looks like. And then we help agencies, home care businesses start up. So if you're looking to grow, we can help you with that. If you're looking to get in this business, you're brand new. If you've even maybe started, like incorporated a home care business, but like nothing's really happened with it yet, and you just need some help, we can assist with that as well. So thank you so much for being here today, and I look forward to seeing or just creating the next video for you guys. And if you haven't already, I'd super appreciate hit the like button and subscribe as well. Thanks so much.